Good morning, first grade and first grade families. Welcome to the second day of first grade. And today will be a lot like yesterday in that we will do some of the same poems and same songs and the morning verse, which I will also write a copy of the morning verse and put it on the little first grade website so that everybody can get to it easily if they want to join in for parents. The children usually learn it by the third or fourth or fifth day, or even a couple of weeks in. Most of them have learned it, but I think that they learn it better when they're all in a group. So I think at home, when you don't hear the other children chiming in, it's more difficult to learn it quickly. So if the parent is saying it, reading it off of something, that'll work as well. So I want to say good morning again. First, good morning, first grade, are you here? Yes, Mr. Coulter, we are here. One more time. Good morning, first grade, are you here? Or are you at least there? Good morning, Mr. Coulter, we are here. Well, I hope you sang along with me because I can't really hear you, but I think I can feel your energy coming toward me, maybe even from a distance. And then we will just do our morning verse again. And I will just say it, and you can join me as you start to learn it. Okay? The sun with loving light makes bright for me each day. The soul with spirit power gives strength unto my limbs. In sunlight shining clear, I am reverent. The strength of humankind has so graciously been planted in my soul, that I with all my might may love to work and learn. From thee come light and strength. To thee rise love and thanks. The way to start a day. Mark the day in some way, thanking the sun and the earth for being here for us to live on. Isn't that nice? Aren't we lucky? Yeah, I think so. All right, today is the 26th, I hope. I was going to check that. Anyway, I'm going to write the day and the date on the board because that's one of the things I like to do in first grade. And by the way, this is the second day of school, and so I'm going to put a little mark. I'm going to put it way over here for the first day yesterday and another one right there. I don't know if you can see that, just barely maybe. So we have 2 days of school so far, and today is Wednesday. And I'm going to write it in cursive because I think cursive is beautiful. I don't know if you can read cursive or not, but you kind of can, because once I write it up there, you can be like, yeah, that says Wednesday. I know that. Here we go. I'm going to put it right here, I think. W-E-D-N-E-S-D-A-Y. Wednesday. It's Wednesday, comma, and it's also August. August, I think, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's the 26th. I might be wrong. Let's see. No, it's the 25th. You don't want to make a mistake like that on TV. 26th. And the year, you probably have heard people say it. I don't know if you know this or not, but it's the year 2020. So I'm going to write it 2, 0, that makes 20, and 20, 2020, 2020, which we'll get into learning how to read those and write those later. So far, We haven't counted to the thousands yet. I don't think anybody here can count to 1,000, can they? That's pretty tricky. The next thing I want to do is head, shoulders, knees, and toes, because it's fun. Let's see if I can get this. That. I'm going to turn sideways. Here we go. Head. Oh, are you going to join me? I hope you stand up and join me because it's fun. And we'll do it 3 times, and we'll make it faster the second time, and then we'll slow it back down the third time. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Eyes and ears and mouth and nose. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Head, ready for the fast one? Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Eyes and ears and mouth and nose. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Now slow, so we don't mess it up. Let's get it perfect this time, shall we? Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Eyes and ears and mouth and nose. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Po-o-po-o-heavey coolie va-vi. Po-o-po-o-heavey coolie va-vi. Po-o-po-o-heavey coolie va-vi. E malama coquino. 2 more times. Po-o-po-o-heavey coolie va-vi. Sing with me if you can. Po-o-po-o-heavey coolie va-vi. Po-o-po-o-heavey coolie va-vi. E malama coquino. One more time. Po-o-po-o-heavey coolie va-vi. Po-o-po-o-heavey coolie va-vi. Po-o-po-o-heavey coolie va-vi. E malama coquino. Soon we'll add some more parts to the Hawaiian version of that. And now it's time for, do you remember what the name of the poem is? I bet you might. You remember this part, right? Can you clap with me? 1, 2, ready, go. There was a crooked man who walked a crooked mile. He found a crooked sixpence upon a crooked stile. He bought a crooked cat who caught a crooked mouse, and they all lived together in a very crooked house. There was a crooked man who walked a crooked mile. He found a crooked sixpence upon a crooked stile. He bought a crooked cat who caught a crooked mouse, and they all lived together in a very crooked house. Slow it back down. There was a crooked man who walked a crooked mile. Say it with me. He found a crooked sixpence upon a crooked stile. He bought a crooked cat who caught a crooked mouse, and they all lived together in a very crooked house. I hope their crooked house doesn't fall down. Now we'll count to 100, and I think you can do it with me. Ready? And I'm going to use my fingers, and I hope you use your fingers too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100! We did it. All right. Next, we are going to go back to our straight line and a curve briefly, and I'm going to do it in a different way this time. So, by the way, every day that we have this little lesson, I would like you to, in the future, it's okay if you didn't do it today, but in the future, always have all the materials I gave you nearby, especially your main lesson book and your crayons. So right now, I hope that you have a crayon or a pencil and something to write on. Some scratch paper or your notebook would be fine. And I think the next time you come into school to pick things up when it's time to get our workbooks, I might give you your own small chalkboard. I think I will do that, and some chalk, so that you can have a chalkboard to write on as well. All right, so straight line and a curve, and I hope that you practice your straight line and your curve. We're gonna do it in a different way today. So I'm gonna practice right now. I'm gonna make a straight line. I can pretend to hold a pencil, and I'm gonna make a straight line down the center. I wonder if I can do it. I can't see how straight my line is, but I can feel it's pretty straight. At least I think it's very straight. I can go back up. Yeah, and I'm gonna start from the top one more time. I'm gonna go down. I hope you're doing this with me. That's the whole idea. And then I'm gonna make two curved lines. I'm gonna start out here. I'm gonna pretend I can see my middle line right here. And I'm gonna make two curved lines starting here and going in toward the middle and then going back out away from the line. I'll start at the top again, because when we're writing letters, we always start from the top. Here we go. Starting on the side and going down to the middle and away. One more time and then we'll write it. Out at the top, I see my center line in my imagination. And I start at the top and come in toward the middle of that line and then go out. All right. Here we go on the blackboard. I think I like this yellow chalk better than that brittle, breakable white chalk I was using yesterday that kept breaking in my hand. So I'm going to, right in the middle of my page, I'm going to do my straight line. Pretty straight, I think, yeah. And now the tricky part, I'm going to sort of practice. I think I'm going to use my finger without the chalk at first. I'm going to make a line over here. And now I'm going to make a line over on this side. Boy, in my imagination at least, I think I did that right. And I think I could make it look pretty good. All right, take a breath and then relax. And make my curve. That's a little curvier curve than I was making before on yesterday, but I'm going to make another one to try and match it. That's the tricky part. All right. Now, please practice that a few more times over the course of this day, and then tomorrow we will put it in our main lesson book. But the first thing I would like to do is I would like to try to remember the story from yesterday. I remember at the end of school yesterday, at the end of my lesson yesterday, I told you a story. And it started with once upon a time, like so many good stories do. Once upon a time, what was there? Do you remember? I think you might. There was a little girl. Now do you remember? And she didn't have any what? Money. Nor did she have a place to live, nor did she have very many clothes, nor did she have anything to eat, which is very sad. So, since she didn't have anything or anyone or anywhere to live, she just started walking, and she did not know where, did she? By the way, your job, again, for homework, I know you're at home already, so that's kind of silly to say, isn't it? But after lesson, please tell someone in your family this story. Now, this will be the second time you've heard it today. I will tell it back to you. And then you will tell it to your parent. You can talk at the same time as me if you want to, and remind your parent of the different things, parent or caregiver or sibling or auntie or uncle, whoever's there. So she walked away. She walked away from the town, and she went out into the world she knew not where to go. And someone had given her a piece of bread, because people do take care of each other sometimes, don't they? It's nice when people take care of each other. So she had her bread. They do say sharing is caring. That's a rhyme, isn't it? And I think it's true. I like helping other people. I think you probably do too. She walked along with her piece of bread, and there she saw an old man, so starving hungry. And he asked her if she had any extra food. Well, she didn't really have extra, did she? All she had was one little piece of bread, but she liked the idea of giving it to the old man. She thought it would be a nice thing to do. She thought she would feel good. She didn't really think about it, actually. She just gave it, because she's a generous person, isn't she? And the old man thanked her. Well, she continued walking, again, without much of a plan, without any plan at all, just wondering what may happen next, and looking around at the world. Well, the next person she came across was a little girl who was shivering with cold. She was shivering with cold and asked the girl if she had anything to help her. And the little girl took off her hood, her cloak, her shawl, and it's like a hooded shawl, and gave it to the little girl so that she might be warmer. And the little girl thanked her. Thank you. And she walked along and walked along. And what did she come across next? But a little boy shivering. I might have changed the story a little bit, but it's okay. A little boy shivering, leaning up against a tree trunk, and he was trying to gather leaves closer to him so that he might be a little bit warmer. And the little girl saw that he was shivering and cold and looked up at her with a helpless look in his eyes, and she just took off her jacket and gave it to the little boy, and he thanked her. Well, she continued along, and she then arrived at another little girl, and this little girl was also freezing cold, and she was here at the edge of the forest, and there was no one around, and it was night now, and she thought, well, I'll just give her my dress, because I can. And she gave it to her. And there she was, wearing almost nothing and freezing cold, just like a little nightgown, kind of like a little dress that you wear underneath a dress. And she went out into the forest, and she was looking around. She heard the wind blowing through the trees, and she wasn't afraid. And she was cold, but she wasn't uncomfortable somehow. She felt warm inside because she had given so many things. She had been kind. And kindness does warm your own heart. Her body was cold, but her heart was warm, and she felt happy. And she looked up to the trees, which had lost their leaves and only their branches, because in wintertime, when you have a winter, the trees all lose their leaves, and you look around and all the trees are bare. And their branches twisting and swaying in the wind a little bit and crackling together sometimes with the music of branches crackling together. And she looked up through the branches, and I know that you remember this part. She looked up and she saw the stars, and they were so beautiful. They were so bright. They were sparkling in a way that she had just felt she had never seen before. And there seemed to be more than usual, just so many. And she saw the familiar constellations in the sky, little patterns of stars that are always there at certain times of year. And she looked up and just almost cried with how beautiful they were. And they were sparkling, and it almost felt to her that they were singing. Sparkling, singing stars. And the strangest thing then happened. The stars that were twinkling seemed to be coming down toward her. They were coming slowly, as if they were floating down to her. And, hello, Auntie Jackie, I'm just finishing my story. The stars were floating down to her, and she looked up and saw them coming down and opened up her shirt to catch them. And she reached out and held the stars as they seemed to fall into her arms, and they had transformed into coins, beautiful silver and gold coins. And as she looked up back at the stars, they were all still there, but her arms were full of beautiful, valuable coins. And she walked back to the village where she lived, and of course from then on, she had never again wanted for anything. She was comfortable and happy and provided for with food and shelter for the rest of her days. And she always helped others, just like she had when she had nothing. She continued to help others all the days of her life. So it was, and so it is, and so it shall be. Welcome, Auntie Jackie.
Good morning, Mr. Coulter.
Good morning. I see you're going to come next to me, which we said we were going to do, and so I need to just get my mask. Welcome to first grade.
Can you guess where I've been?
I'm guessing I think it's a safe guess to say anytime you say you're arriving somewhere, you've been in the garden. Is that right?
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. We'll shake hands, even though then we have to wash our hands after, just because we're being extra careful, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I guess. All right, but until then, what did you bring us?
Good morning, first graders. I've been in the garden. I don't have an armload of flowers, but I have some flowers. And you guys might recognize these because you've been in the garden. You've had your zinnias up at the classroom with Auntie, or you came in the garden with me. These are called zinnias, and they start with the last letter of the alphabet, zinnias. Here, would you like to take those?
Thank you.
I was in the garden, and I was thinking, how can I get ready for these first graders? So I sat down. I said, I'm not certain, but if I sit down and listen, I might hear and learn. And as I sat down and was quiet, some ideas came to me. And I started looking around the garden and finding some things that you guys might recognize. So today, I've just come to show you the things that I have found so that we can start remembering how we were in the garden when we had them and when we came to school as kindergartners. And if you're new to our class, it's okay because you're gonna come right along because gardening is pretty fun. Who recognizes this? I'll put it there up against the pink. This is one of those things that some of you guys used when you made something. I'm gonna let you keep guessing. I think that you could guess what that is. I'll tell you in a minute. It makes a nice sound. There's something else that I found. Oh, I only have a little bit left right now. Can you see that? I'm wondering if you could guess what that is. That is the most simple little plant that we have in the garden. I'm gonna see if you can remember what you did with that, and I'll give you a little hint. So, this is moss. It's very, very fine. And this is it's a macadamia nut with its husk on. That green is the husk. And I think some of you guys know how to make some crafts with that. So then I was still wondering what to do, so I sat down some more and I was listening in the garden, and I understood from the voices that I was hearing, it was a rainy night in the garden. And I just realized that anybody who was hanging out in that garden could actually find themselves a leaf and cover their head. It started giving me ideas. I can even see a mosquito coming out of this leaf. That these leaves are familiar to a lot of the kindergartners because you may have known them as yakon in the garden, yakon. So I got a whole bunch and I could offer Mr. Coulter some of these leaves and trade them for cash or something like that. So 1,
Okay.
2,
Oh my goodness.
3, what do we got? We've got 4, a little one, 5, 6 leaves. Mr. Coulter, can I trade you 6 leaves for a cup of coffee?
Oh, surely I can do that. That sounds
I'll
like a
come
good
back
idea.
later for the coffee. He took
I
it.
have a question about these leaves. I heard you say they are yakon, and I can see that you can use them as a head covering. Are there what else do there? I don't think they don't feel like maybe you can eat them. Is there any other thing that is it come from a tree? No, doesn't look like it comes from a tree.
I think you guys know this one. When we're in the garden, they're not quite a tree. Some of you have hidden underneath them or tried to get past them, and they're kind of scratchy. These, when they keep growing and growing, are putting nutrients into the bottom. And in the bottom of these nice big tubers, and they're juicy. And around December, when the days are the shortest, these are ready to dig up and wash off and chop up and eat.
Oh, do you cook them or do you eat them raw?
Raw. They're very good raw. They're very watery.
I like the way the veins look. The veins themselves almost look like a tree with branches on it, don't they? They grow in the same way, don't they?
And one more thing I'm thinking about with these leaves is they would be terrific to make a little house for somebody who's small,
Yes.
like fairy friends. I have one more thing to show you in this basket, and does anybody have any snake charmer music? It's an endlessly long bean.
Oh my goodness.
I'm having a lot of fun in the garden, and I wish you were with me, but I'm going to come back each day with something to remind you and then something new to show you as well. Okay? Thanks for
Well,
seeing
thank you very much. I appreciate your visit.
Yeah,
See you again tomorrow.
I will bring you more things from the garden, and I'm so glad you invited me in.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right. Aloha.
And I thank you for the flowers, and we have them in a vase now or a jar, and I will keep them right here next to right here. And I'm going to put these leaves down, and look at the time. It's 9:29, which means our time is really about up. I was going to make a drawing today with you, and so I think what I will do is I will start the drawing, even though we're about out of time. And my drawing that I made on paper is here. And usually when I make a drawing, it has to do with the story. So I drew a picture from the story, and it looks like this. And I will teach you how to make that drawing right now. Except we're out of time. So I think what I will do is I'll just show you that for now, and tomorrow we will draw it together. So I would suggest that you wait until tomorrow. Well, I'm second guessing myself. I think since we are all here and maybe you're excited to draw this, I will start it now, and then we can finish it tomorrow. And if you would like to work on it for your after lesson work, you can do that. So I'm going to put it right here next to me where I can see it really well. And I'm going to put the drawing right here on the board. I'm going to put it over here. So I'm going to put it right here where this form drawing is. I'm going to erase one of my lines. And I'm just going to start this drawing. And usually I like to start with the human being in the drawing, but in this case, I think I decided that I would start with the trees And if you see my drawing, I have one tree on each edge, like almost to the very edge. And if this is the same paper, I'll put one tree trunk here and one tree trunk here. And they do a nice job of framing the drawing. And then branches, and I leave all the way, I wait until I'm about halfway up the page, about halfway, and then I start making some branches. So halfway is here. And I start making some branches that go out. And I can fix those later and add to them later. I'm just giving you the feeling for it for now so we can get started. So there is kind of an important order that we do things in. I'm guessing maybe some of you do not have your drawing things in front of you. And if you are running around scrambling to go get your drawing things, that's okay because I'm just doing the very beginning of this drawing. And so I guess I'm a little afraid of telling you to go ahead and work on it without me. So I will make my tree trunks going on up. And the very next thing I did is put the stars. I made little kind of star shapes, and you can just make little dots, or you can wiggle your crayon back and forth a little bit and make a tiny scribble. And you can put a lot of them. Some of them are farther apart, and sometimes they're close together, and that's how stars are. If you put them all the same distance apart, they end up not looking like stars. So some are far apart from each other, and some are closer in. And I went ahead and I brought them all the way down to about there, and then I stopped because I wanted to put the girl in next, because she's the most important part of the story. And I used my yellow crayon, because I like to start with yellow because I can kind of go over it if I make a mistake. In fact, I made her too tiny the first time I did. I put her head right there, where her elbow is now. And I realized she was too tiny. So I want her to fill up. She's the most important part of the story. Even though it maybe seems like she's a little too big, I want her to really take up a good bit of room here. And I start with her head. And she's standing sideways. So if you stand sideways, you can see I take up a lot more space front ways, that much space. If I stand sideways, I take up only a little space, right? So start with kind of skinny. And I do the head, and I make the head more or less round, kind of a little egg-shaped maybe. Egg shape. And then I don't really worry about the neck at this point. I just put shoulder. And the shoulder is pretty skinny. And arms are longer than you think when you draw. But I'm going to kind of skip the arm and just come down here to her feet. And I'm going to think to myself, well, I'm going to put her foot kind of near the bottom. And her leg, this part of the leg is pretty skinny. And then I'm going to go ahead and put a dress shape here. A dress shape. And now I'm going to put her arm. So if I was holding out my arms to catch something like this, I'm only going to see one arm. Pretend you use only one. It's really hard to draw two of them. I'm just going to draw one, so it's like one is behind the other and you can't really see the other. The same with the legs and the feet. If you look at me sideways, you only see one leg, right? So, and her arm goes out from her body a little bit. This part, okay, is going to bend up. This part comes a little out. So I go like this, and I draw this part of my arm, this part, and then I just put the elbow there. Look, my elbow is right about at my waist, right about my waist. So I bring it down to her waist, and then I come up. And that's pretty much all I have to do. The next step for me is taking my dark blue, because I'm going to come back to her. I'm going to take my dark blue and I'm going to color around each star. I'm going to go around each star. And in case somebody does not have their crayons and main lesson book out with them right now and is trying to catch up, I'm going to stop right there. That's where I'm going to stop. because I don't want to get too far ahead and have the people who weren't ready feel like they don't know where to start now. We started with the trees way on the edge, and then some stars. We brought them down about to there, and we made the girl there. We just started her. So I'm going to leave that there until tomorrow, and I'm going to ask you to do some things for your homework, and I will write this down and put it on the website, and that way you can have it in writing for parents who can go and look for it. But you can maybe remember to practice the form drawing. Basically, you're practicing everything we just did in school. So you can practice the form drawing, the line with the straight line with the curve on each side. You are going to practice counting to 100. Your family is fine. The person, house, tree drawing. I would love a photograph of your main lesson drawing. On the very first page of your main lesson book is the drawing of the person, the house, and the tree. So I'd like to see a picture of that and also the writing assignment that I gave you. And other than that, to retell the Star Money story to somebody in your family, and then to play tic-tac-toe with somebody. Okay? So those are my little after lesson assignments for you. And I understand that different families have different abilities to do all that stuff because there's a lot of things to do in a day, aren't there? The main homework that I've always given everyone is to go through that checklist that I've given you and just make sure you spend plenty of time outside. Make sure that you help out around the house, sweeping or doing other jobs around the house. Make sure that you are cooking, helping cook with your family if that's allowed, and looking at books and asking someone to read to you. That's important to me that you hear that. And I know that you have workbooks and other things too. I'm not going to say that you have to do any of those things right now, but of course, if you like to and you have them, go for it. I'm really excited actually to give you a whole new packet of stuff. And I'm just going to show you it real quick, and then I'm going to say goodbye. So it's an activity book where you get to cut out all kinds of things and sort them into different kinds of piles. So this one, for instance, one of the early pages has a rhyming activity. So you can think of things that rhyme with bee and think of things that rhyme with snail. And I think everything on this picture rhymes with either bee or snail. And we set this up with a little envelope with this on the outside and an envelope with this on the outside, and you cut all those things out and you put them in the correct envelope. For instance, what is that? A key. You can see that a key rhymes with bee. And so I think you'll have a lot of fun with that, and it will keep you very busy, I think, too. All right. Thank you for coming today. See you tomorrow.